Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show of Between the Spreadsheets. Today, I've got with me Simon Edmondson, who is a consultant for the Federation of Small Business, but he does a lot of things far more interesting than that. Sorry, FSB, but it has to be said. And I'd also like to point out that Simon is so well dressed and so smart, and I haven't had a shave. And I have brushed my hair, and I should have put a shirt on instead of a polo neck jumper, but there we go. So Simon, thank you for joining me today.
No, thank you for asking me. It's a pleasure to be here, and
Ah,
people know me with the waistcoat and the jacket,
yeah.
so I
But
think I
very
disappoint
smart,
them.
very
Thank you.
smart. But so let's start off with the FSB. So
Yeah,
so I know there's a lot of people out there that gain a lot of benefits from a membership of something like this. I mean, I'm a member, and I had a little bit of a legal issue, and I phoned up, and they were able to give me a bit of advice on that without silly lawyers' bills.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the FSB.
Well, set up in 1974, and we're here. Well, I'm here in the northwest, and it's a northwest organisation. It's based in Blackpool, and it
Oh,
was set up to head office, and that's where
didn't know that. I
yeah.
thought it was somewhere posh like London.
Well, we'll come to that in a minute.
Okay.
But head office is by the airport at Blackpool, and the first ever meeting in September 1974 was actually at the Tickle Trout in Preston, which a lot of
I
us go
remember that.
past.
They used
Yeah,
to they used to sort of used to go there for fish dinners because they had
yeah,
a lake at the bottom of the
that's right.
restaurant, didn't
Yeah,
they? Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, and it was set up to lobby government, and that's what it does to this day. And it's the largest business organisation in the UK, approximately 170,000 members, and and every single day we're lobbying either central government. So we, at the moment, we're talking about COVID, and we've been talking to the government about bounce back loans, furloughing scheme, the small business rate relief grant. Locally, we have development managers who speak to the local authorities. So Rob here in Greater Manchester, I think he's been on a call with Andy Burnham this morning discussing small business issues around the area. So that's what we do. To get to be the biggest, we have to offer benefits. So it's a not-for-profit organisation run by its members for its members, and we offer things like, as you said, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, a legal advice line staffed by solicitors and barristers, legal documents, full tax protection in case of HMRC investigations.
What's that?
Uh, well, actually, that's in the unlucky instance that HMRC actually send you a letter and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
we'd like to look at your books and make sure you're
Oh.
paying the
Do you
right
know what we
money."
call it at my
Go on.
company? Profit.
Right. Yeah.
So we employ HMRC just to go and pull investigations on people, so we can handle it for them.
Right.
No,
Well, there you go.
no,
Yeah.
but that is an upsetting time. I
It
do
is.
know.
It
Yeah,
is.
it
And
is.
I had one about 20 years ago, and
Yeah.
actually, I was very lucky. I came out with them owing me money rather than
Oh,
the other way
right.
around. So
Right.
it worked. But we've developed actually into not a networking organization. I always call it an organization that does meetings, does networking. So,
Right.
currently at the moment, we have 4 to 5 meetings a day going on across the UK,
Right.
and members will dial in and network virtually at the moment with members from all over the
Oh, you'll
country.
have to tell them to send me a link. I never get
Yeah.
anything.
Ah, right.
They
Okay.
don't
Right.
like me. They don't want me there. Yeah, I don't blame them.
Leave that with me then. But
Okay.
yeah, it's online networking, but as members we can go anywhere in the country and network. And then
Yeah.
we've got the discounts, you say the free business banking with the co-op. We work with WorldPay. Now have our own insurance brokers. So we try to create a one-stop shop for
Yeah.
members,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh no, it's useful. It is useful. But to come away from FSB. I mean, obviously, if anybody would like details of the FSB, I would always recommend these types of things. And they're not. It's not dear, is it? It's not like.
No, it starts at £177.
Yeah.
No VAT
Yeah.
because it's not for profit,
Yeah.
and then of course it's tax deductible because it's a legitimate
Yeah.
business expense, and then the
Yeah.
next year it actually goes down to 147.
Yeah. I think that's what I paid last year.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I actually have a member who sent me an invoice from his accountant for tax protection for
Yeah.
£180 plus VAT. So it
It
shows what
covered.
value
It
it is.
covered that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's very good. I mean, we don't offer tax protection, tax investigation protection,
yeah.
simply because we just handle it for you anyway, and we're
Right.
so
Yeah.
cheap it doesn't matter. But yeah, but you yourself, I know we were talking just before the show. You're also involved in a few things, aren't you?
Yeah. So,
So
uh,
tell me about that.
yeah. Well, I celebrated last year 30 years as self-employed.
Right.
So I go back quite a long way. But
Yeah.
so I did quite a bit. I obviously I always say my day-to-day job is the FSB. It's what
Yeah.
everybody knows me for.
Yeah.
But that's led me on to other things. So I run a networking business called the Business Network South Manchester with my wife, and that's
Business. I think I've heard of that. So how does that work?
so that's a monthly meeting.
Mm.
We've got 59 members at the moment, and they meet at a hotel, normally somewhere around Oldley Edge, Wilmslow, that way,
Okay.
for a lunch. We have been doing a lot of virtual networking, but we're hoping in December we'll be back to at least 30 of them meeting
Yeah.
at the Pinewood,
Yeah.
and they have the benefit of meeting virtually as well if
Yeah.
they want to. They have me going around, promoting them as well. But yeah, it's a great organisation. It's mainly directors who come, slightly bigger businesses with probably start. Well, we do have our own sole traders, but we go up from 0 staff up to, well, our biggest is Bruntwood with a few thousand staff,
Okay.
so they're
Right.
they're members of ours. So yeah, we love that day. The two of us actually enjoy the actual the lunch event, and we bring in some great speakers. So we've had Chris Brinley, who was the ex-MD of Metro Bank. We've had Cody Kapar, who's a FSB member but a great entrepreneur. Will Kintish, who you might have heard of.
He's been on
Uh,
our show.
right, right. Well, I
No, I
know.
know Will. Hello,
Yeah,
Will.
so Will is actually one of our members, but he came to talk and then joined, so it's great to have Will
Yes.
as a member. So we do that once a month. I work with my son on a branded workwear business, so that's Connect Brand. So sometimes I can be a bit informal in a black polo shirt with branded up, and then I do a bit of business development for a couple of other companies. And in
What type of
last
business development?
well, I go around networking for a debt recovery business,
Right.
who's an FSB member and a CRM system business. And then, if you'd have asked me last year,
Mm.
I spend a lot of time in China talking to Chinese investors about what the SME community was about.
All right.
So,
So how does that work?
well, that was an FSB member who I signed up about 2 years ago, and they asked me whether I'd like to go out to China and for them and talk to
All
these
right.
potential investors. So
Where,
I
where,
went
where
out with
did you go?
started off in Shanghai, and
Yeah.
then that I thought that was it. I thought that was
Yeah.
a nice
Yeah.
nice
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah.
And then next time they asked me to go to Shanghai, Qingdao, and Suzhou. So I
Okay.
did that, and then I've been to Chengdu for them and Shenzhen,
Right.
and had Beijing and Hong Kong as on my bucket list, and they said, yeah, we're going to Beijing
Mhm.
in March, and we're going to Hong Kong in April, and
Yeah.
oh,
Did you go to
COVID.
Guangzhou?
Not yet, no, but
No.
that is
It's an amazing factory. The
yeah,
one city of massive factory. I used to go. We used to go every 3 months or so. We used
right,
to take clients out looking for suppliers and
yeah,
mainly have a laugh. But a wonderful place. People think
yeah.
that it's a third world country, but makes us look like a third world country.
I was completely amazed, and I took
Mm.
my wife out
Yeah.
in September because they said, "Would your wife come with you?" And we spent quite a few days in Shanghai, and I said, "It's not how you're going to be expecting it," and
No.
she got blown away by the busyness of it, and they love their brands, don't they? They
Yeah. Oh,
adore their brands.
I think for English people anyway, it's a wonderful place to
Yes,
live or to be around.
yeah,
So
and
yeah,
when you go, the regime there, but the people are so nice and so
they are.
friendly. And
They are.
I was giving a talk last week, and I said, you never leave an empty plate, or you'll be
No.
there all night.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah. No, I am
But
lucky for things like that because I've got my natural personality, so nobody wants to talk to me. So,
yeah,
you've got your fingers in all sorts of pies. So you've probably
yes,
got lots of stories to tell.
uh,
So
yes.
give me a disaster story.
Oh, a
Can you think
disaster.
of one? We like
Um,
disaster stories on this program.
yeah. Oh God. I wish I'd
I
known
know.
about this before. I could have done. I think what the FSB's taught me is always be prepared,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we
Always
do.
be prepared. On my
Yeah,
honor.
yes, yeah, yeah. We're like the Boy Scouts for business. But yeah, there's things happen, and you think, oh my God, how did we get through that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I'll tell you another story about the business network in a minute.
Okay.
But we had a meeting, and we had 100 members coming to the Longford Park, the sports centre there. We used it regularly at one stage for meetings. Fantastic, loads of parking. We got there, and we thought there's quite a lot of cars in the car park. And when we got there, they said, we've double booked you. Now
Oh,
this is how good FSB members are. We actually ran round to the Clink pub in Chorlton Green, who is a member, and said, "What can you do for us?" So they said, "Right, okay, we probably can't fit 100 in, but we can probably do about 60." And they pushed everybody out there,
right.
conservatory and everybody, and we actually held the meeting in there. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Right.
But it just makes you think that lots get thrown at you in business, and disasters happen, and it's the way
Oh,
you react to them.
yeah, absolutely.
Uh, yeah, and we only bought the business network last May, I should
Yeah.
say. And I don't know whether you remember when the dam at Whaley Bridge was about to flood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Torrential rain, and we I sat here in our office Wednesday night, getting ready for the meeting on Thursday, and the Pinewood rang me where we were having the meeting and said, "We can't do it. We're completely flooded out. The whole of the ground floor is flooded out." And we just, it was like our third meeting or second meeting actually, and it was like disaster. We've got 60 people coming for this lunch. What are we going to do?
Get some
And my wife,
dinghies and serve them in the
yes,
dinghies. That
yeah.
would
Well,
be good.
that would have been one thing, but it sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And I know the manager at the Cresta Court very well, and I rang up Scott and I said, "Look, really sorry about this, but can you do anything for us?" Yes, no problem. So we held the whole meeting in the Cresta Court,
Didn't they used
literally.
to do antique shows there on a
Oh
Sunday?
yeah, yes, yeah. It's been it's been around for years. It's hosted loads of things. But you're right,
Yeah.
antique fairs were one of those
'Cause
things,
I
and
stood one once many years ago. That's what I
yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
valuations and things, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, so again, it's like, don't panic. There must be a solution for this,
Mm.
And we held a great meeting, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. So just
Uh,
keep going.
just keep
So
going is the
some
thing.
advice for everybody, just keep going.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
let it phase you. Just laugh with this situation.
yeah. I wish
Uh,
I wish business was always smooth running. That'd be a great
yeah.
thing, but
Be a bit boring though.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. No, but at least this way you get to go for a swim.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But there must be some heartbreaking stories as well, because you deal with so many different types of businesses.
Oh, yeah, and at the moment, we are hearing stories of
Mm.
businesses that have, their whole life has been around their business, and
Yeah.
it's they're struggling to pay the bills. I heard of a digital marketing business who only 2 years ago won our Digital Business of the Year award in
Okay.
Greater Manchester, and unfortunately they've had to shut the doors because they just
Oh,
can't make it work
yeah.
under the current circumstances. So that
No.
is heartbreaking.
I find this time. But you know what I find heartbreaking? I find when people put so much effort and so much time into building something, and
Mm,
they manage to achieve so much anxiety and so much upset, and a lot of the people that are supposed to be helping them, advising them,
mm.
are the very ones actually making the problems even worse.
Yes,
Do you
yes.
know? A few months ago, we actually one of our member staff, while they were writing up someone's account, actually found a suicide note in the paperwork,
Yeah.
and it's like, what do you do?
Mm,
What
mm.
you just don't know what to do.
No, no.
So I just said, how old is it? And well, if they were going to do anything, they might have done it by now, so it's too late to do anything. But
Mm.
just put it in a separate envelope and give it them back to let them know. You don't want, because
Mm.
it's very difficult, because you can't always get people to confide in you.
No,
But then
no.
we actually found another one. Right? I didn't find it, but it was a guy who put pictures of his ex-girlfriend, and she was like half naked. And I just said, "Look, just put them in an envelope. You haven't seen them, put them back." But of course, one of our consultants who knows the client had to go and say, had to go and mention. It's amazing what happens between
Mm.
the sheets, isn't it? Between the
Yeah,
spreadsheets,
yeah.
when you actually work with people at a closer level.
Mm.
But you seem the type that enjoys working with people.
Oh, I love it. And I was asked the other week about what how is business reacting to everything that's going on.
Yes,
And
yes,
I'm very fortunate that I do a lot of networking, speak to a lot of businesses,
yeah,
and what I'm finding is that the way they've turned round, I don't want to say pivot, but it's going to
yeah,
happen, isn't it? The way they've pivoted or the way they've changed what they're doing, just slightly. It doesn't
mm,
have to be a phenomenal turnaround or whatever, but just to make sure that their business is carrying on and they can provide the
yeah,
best services
yeah.
possible. It's inspiring to see.
I've
I've,
I've seen it. I've seen it.
mm,
I've seen, because I know pubs and restaurants have suffered, but I've seen
mm,
people set up a shop in front of them.
mm,
Like a pub, they've used shelves to start selling groceries.
yeah, yeah,
There's all
yeah.
sorts of things. But networking is key to this, isn't it?
Mm. Oh, definitely. I'd always say we talked about Mr. Kintish earlier,
Yes.
didn't we? So
Yeah.
he will tell you that it's building those relationships that
Yeah.
are great. They come back, to help you. When you at least expect it,
Mm.
you come across somebody that
Well, you
yeah,
do, but you
yeah,
do need. I think a lot of businesses now that there's when what has always worked has stopped working.
mm,
And let's face it, a lot of what has always worked was stopping working long before COVID came along.
mm,
And it's about not giving up and just
mm,
taking stock and seeing, well, what can I do now? What benefit can I get from this situation? Because it's not all doom and gloom.
mm.
So what advice would you give people apart from keep the cameras going, keep networking, keep in touch with everybody? Is there anything else that
I
people
I
can do?
think I think it is to be that, it's to be as visible as possible, because we will get through this. We will end up back face to face, and in 3 years' time we'll have probably forgotten all about it. But
Yeah,
it is at this moment in time. It's just to keep as visible as possible, trim as many costs. I'm not the accountant, so I'm not going to talk.
yeah,
Don't want to talk too much about that. But look after look after the pennies.
yeah,
But yeah, just keep out there. I will do 4 or 5, sometimes Zoom meetings a day. I feel
yeah.
absolutely shattered after it, but it's been well worth it.
No, it is. It
And,
is. You've got to.
even
And
for your own solace,
yeah,
actually speaking to people
oh,
is
absolutely.
really good.
Even if you sell
Mm,
photo frames and you're pitching your photo frames, but just what you mentioned before about keeping your eye on cost on the pennies.
mm,
I'll always maintain it's not so much about looking after the pennies. It is obviously you can't just throw money around, but it's being careful what you spend money on. So
yeah,
one of the biggest worries is that people stop spending money on things that actually benefit the business.
yeah.
Instead like don't cancel your accountant's fees because but no, it is a case of keeping your stocks level of making sure that your promotions go up maybe in a different way. And I can see that you sort of do that without even thinking, don't you?
Yeah, marketing is all a part of business, and
Yeah,
that's so important to carry on.
yeah,
Now, I was listening to somebody who said, "Oh, I've held fire till January or maybe even February." I'm going, "No, now's the best time to do it."
yeah, of course.
Because you've got to keep that
You've got to
activity
keep it
keep
going.
going. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
and so something else I don't know how you feel about, but I've spoken a few times, and it sounds like it's becoming a bit of a mission statement for me. It's not. I don't have a particular axe to grind, but when you what do you think about things like Uber and Uber Eats and Deliveroo and eBay and all that type of thing? Because I've been pushing set up your own infrastructure to do this. Don't rely
yeah.
on a third party. How does a professional like yourself feel about that?
I think if you can do it yourself and you can keep those within costs and sorry, I've just had a son come down the side of me and wave at something at me. But
Come
anyway,
and
never
come
mind.
and tell him say hello.
Yeah, he's just wandered through, so he's disappeared again. Um, but yeah, if you can do that, we're currently doing an online shop ourselves, and it would have been so easy to go down the Amazon route.
Yeah,
But the costs involved,
yeah,
they start getting quite excessive, and they keep taking a little bit chunk out of you. At least if you can keep control of those things,
yeah,
you know what's happening, you know what the costs are, you can keep them under wraps. It will serve you better in the future.
yeah,
So and even talking about Deliveroo and Uber Eats and things like that, there's nothing better that if you do get a takeaway delivery, that it's that takeaway person, that driver who's a local person who is it might be their second job, but you
yeah,
are actually helping support a local business,
yeah,
and that will be fed back into the local community.
yeah,
Time and time again, we've seen the figures of shopping local, shopping
mm,
independent, feeds back into the community so
yeah.
much quicker.
It
Yeah.
does, and I think one thing that has come from this year has been that we probably miss and value our local businesses more than we ever thought.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially the younger generation who seem to be so much nicer and politer and easier to get
Mm.
on with than my generation, who is,
Yeah.
yeah, well, sorry, all you guys are the same age as me, but you're retiring now, so get
Yeah.
online and get some skills going.
Yeah. But I think it has brought us back to feeling more of a community,
Yeah,
and more thinking about what can we do locally.
yeah,
So as you know, we were talking about where I live. We've got Ashton-on-Mersey Village just down the road for us. We've got everything we actually need within the village if we
yeah.
really want to.
Well, I
Yeah.
live in North Manchester, and they
Right.
have a problem letting people like me into your posh area. So I have that problem.
I didn't know we got passport control as yet, but
Yeah,
you're more than
it's.
welcome. You're more than
I
welcome.
think I need a written invitation and a password to get through. I think
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but it's been lovely having you on today, and
Thank
it'd
you
be
for the
nice
invite.
to keep in touch. And is there anything you'd like to add before we go? Any final bit of advice or story or anything?
I would say, join an organisation like the FSB if
Yeah,
you're small. It doesn't have
yeah.
to be the FSB. We have other business organisations, but
Like, I've
that,
never heard of any. Like
yeah,
what?
well, well, the Chamber of Commerce is
Oh,
there, so
useless, terrible,
so, but there are, just
full of accountants.
yeah, yes, yes, definitely. But having that support, yes, the FSB is great,
Yeah,
but I've built up a lot of friends through the FSB who are, are members, they're business owners, and I know I can pick up the phone
yeah,
and ask for a bit of advice.
yeah,
So, and it's a great source of just keeping you sane, you know, keeping your head
yeah,
straight in times like this. But even
yeah,
out of times like this, it's a lonely business being a business owner, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I
It
work
is.
with my wife, so we have a chat, but it's nice to bounce
Yeah.
off other people occasionally
No,
as well.
no, it is. It is,
Yeah.
and the right type of people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
'Cause
right. Yeah.
yes, I
People
mean,
people join organisations because they are looking after their business. The one thing I was going to say was, sorry to witter on, but
no, it's okay.
after your family, your children, what's the most important thing you've ever raised? It's your business. So you want to look after it. You want to make sure it
You do,
thrives and survives.
you
So
do, you do. If you do want to have a chat about your accounts and you do want to have a chat
right,
about bookkeeping, here's my numbers along the bottom. And if you'd
yeah,
like to speak to Simon about consultancy or about the FSB or just have a chat, then Simon's details are coming up now. And I'd like to say thank you for joining me, and please do take care. And I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, Simon, and
thank
I'll
you
I'll
so
see you
much.
soon. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.